Hey guys, I'm Jacqueline, and we're here with a book recommendation video. Yay. Oh my goodness, it has been a while since we've talked books with you.
Yeah, it has been a while. We've been doing mainly reactions, but we definitely want to start doing more book videos for you guys.
We're very, very big readers, as you guys know.
Before we start, we wanted to show you the shirts that we're wearing. So this one is an Outlander shirt that says Sassenach, and that is Pemberley shirt.
Pride and Prejudice.
And these are all available in the new family shop, Rig's Cozy Corner, and the link to that is down below. It's an Etsy shop, and you could check out, you can get these shirts, or you could get, there's even more Outlander shirts. There's Take Me to Lollybrook, there's a
Take Me to the Stones.
There's also mugs, there's a lot of book related shirts.
We have one that's cozy nights and romance novels. We have a Lost in Austen, because we do love Jane Austen. We've got we've got some like Hallmark ones as well. We have a lot of fandom ones that we're working on right now. We've got a Lucifer one going, Supernatural, and Vampire Diaries. Yeah, we're
lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely be sure to check out the link below. And we're also offering you guys free shipping, so check that out and get some book things for Christmas.
They're super warm too.
They're really warm. They're like the perfect time of year. But they're also available, like all of these designs are available in like mugs and pillows,
different colors,
phone cases, different colors. Like if there's anything, like if you guys see something that you like on there and you want it in a different color, like let us know, because we could figure that out for you. And yeah, so definitely follow all of the social media linked below and get some fandom merch. We have a lot of wintry and Christmassy types of books.
Yep, and it's the perfect time. It is now December, so it's the time to get in all of the Christmas related books while you can before it's too late.
Exactly.
I feel like every year I'm like, I have to read all the Christmas books now, because after the new year, like, it's kind of like, I mean, you can, but like Christmas is over.
Just now
it doesn't feel the same. Yeah.
And also, like, some of these are, there's a good portion of like Christmas types book, but some of them are just winter in general. So you can read them in like January, February, or whatever. Like if you're snowed in.
Yeah, a lot of these are like snow type books, so you can read after the holidays too.
If you're snowed in, they might be some good books to read, especially, you know, we're all quarantined basically here still. So, you know, now's a great time to load up your Kindles or go fill up those Amazon and Barnes & Noble accounts, or even support some indie bookstores right now. That's really important as well. So yeah. So
the first book that we want to talk about is Credence by Penelope Douglas. We really, really love Penelope Douglas. If you guys have read her before, her writing is very unique. So basically what this is about is, it's about this girl, and she's kind of like the good girl in the book, if I remember. And she ends up going to, I don't remember.
She goes to like the mountains or something. She goes, and basically, listen, this book is very smutty.
She ends up getting like snowed in there, because it's basically in the middle of nowhere. Like it's kind of like the type of place where like, if you get snowed in, you're basically like there. Like it's a place that has bad winters. So she's snowed in for like a couple weeks, like months. Like she's in there for a while with these guys, and it's like the two brothers and their dad.
It's very smutty.
Yes, it's a very smutty, kinky book. If you're not into that, honestly, like, give it a try. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, this book, like, Penelope Douglas in particular has a way of like making like books that you would think that like you wouldn't be interested in. You'd be like, oh, that's weird, or like I'm uncomfortable with that. She writes it so well.
That's who it is that she goes to stay with. The her father's stepbrother.
Yeah, so that's how it's
there's a relation like that. Yeah. Takes place in Colorado in like the mountains, and it's really steamy. So like, listen,
very steamy.
If you're watching this and you're like 13, 14, even 15, you know, you might want to kind of steer clear.
Yeah, if you're a little older, you'd probably be ready for this kind of book. No, but it's so good, and it's so addicting, and yes, it's dirty, but it's also it's really well written. Like all of her books, like she's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're not saying like
there's also romance too in there.
Yeah,
it's not just like it's not just 100% like erotica. Like it's not an erotica type book. It's more romance, but of course there's those smutty, sexy times too. Yeah.
It's a really great book. It really is. We really enjoy Penelope Douglas. Like, if you've read her other books, like, we also love, like, Punk 57, Birthday Girl. Like, all of her books are great. She's a great author to check out. But, yeah, if you're snowed in, go for it.
Definitely.
It's a good time.
You'll love it.
It's a really good book. We have a review on it actually, so we can.
Yeah, we do.
We could check out. I think we have a book playlist.
We go more in depth of it, so definitely go read it, and then you can talk all about it with us in our book review that we already have.
Yeah. The next book that we have talked to you guys about just came out very recently.
It's a recent read that we did.
It just came out recently, and we just read it recently, like very quickly, and that is In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. You guys, this is the most like comfy, sweetest book, and it is just such a great time. Like, it's funny, it's lighthearted, and basically it follows like this girl, and she's going to, it's like her family's friends, so they're not like related or anything like that, but it's like the parents are all like college friends, and then a few times a year they get together for the holidays. So they go there and they spend like a week vacation.
It's like a tradition every year around Christmas.
It's like a tradition, and they spend like a week vacation together, and there's this guy there, and he's like, they've been best friends like since they were like born, and he's a little older than her, and she's always had like the crush on him, and then he's got like a brother, and she ends up kind of hooking up with the wrong brother at a party because she's like drunk, and she's very like not happy with her life. Like, one thing I really did love about this book is that it's not just a romance, like it's more delves into her character journey.
She had a lot of depth in that book. Yeah,
like she had a lot of really amazing development, and like the messages are so good. And so basically what happens is, you know, she's not happy at her job, she got drunk on some eggnog, she hooked up with the wrong guy, and then she finds out that the cabin that they all go to, they're selling it. So she did not have a good Christmas or anything. So then she ends up something happens, and she ends up going back in time. She gets a redo, so it's like she ends up reliving that week that already happened, like around Christmas time, and she ends up doing it differently, and it happens over and over until she basically gets it right. Yeah, she goes back, I think maybe like 2 or 3 times, and it's always like really funny when it happens. And then like she wakes up and she's like, what is happening? And people are thinking that she's like crazy, and it's just, it's really funny. Like, I was laughing out loud when I read it, and the romance is really sweet, but it has, I really love all the characters too. All of the characters, like it was a really great book. We love Christina Lauren, like their writing is so great. If you don't know, it's 2 best friend authors, and they write amazing romance novels together. And yeah, it's a really fun book, especially like it has every Christmas thing that you could imagine in it. Like, it has Christmas trees, it has sledding, it has Christmas shopping, and building like snowmen and stuff. It's the perfect Christmas read. It really is, and you'll fly through it because it's just really sweet. And so definitely read that one before Christmas, not after. Yes, this is when you want to do, like, now. Yeah. So another great read. This is actually a very recent read of both of ours. We actually read it at the same time. We read it together. So we were texting as we were reading it. This is No Exit by Taylor Adams, and it was so wild. Good. It was wild. It is a roller coaster of a ride, guys. It is a thriller type book. It takes place in like 7 hours. Like, it was really quick. Fast. Like, it's basically this girl, and she's traveling to go see her mother. She ends up at this rest stop with 4 other people there. They're the only people there, including her, and they're just kind of all hanging out there. And then all snowed in. She ends up going outside to try to get a signal, whatever, with her cell phone, and she walks by one of their cars and sees a child in a cage. In a van. In a parking lot. In a van. And so she's stuck here because she can't leave because of the snow. And her phone's dying. Her phone has service. Like, guys, the anxiety that we both felt reading this, like, we were texting the whole time. We're like, oh my god. And because it's very, very fast paced, I sat there, not even joking, I sat there and I finished the book. I didn't get up. Yeah. I read it for like 4 or 5 hours. Like, I didn't get up. No. Like, I needed to, like, I couldn't go to sleep. Like, I needed to, it's so fast paced that, like, you can't stop the book. Well, because it all takes place in one night. It's literally, and it's very like, action packed. Like, things were going wild at the end of the book. Like, it's scary. It's scary. Terrifying. It's a terrifying book, but it's like, especially it's like a slow car crash. You just can't stop, like, especially because, like, it's such a real type of situation. Like, that shit really does happen, and it was really terrifying. But like, it's all about her trying to save this child. Yeah, there's like this little girl, and she gotta save her, but then she's also stuck with these 4 people. Like,
she doesn't know who it is. That,
two of them are men, and 2 of them are like an older couple, but like not like a couple, but like family. Like they all have like different stories to them, and you kind of, in the beginning, you have to kind of figure out like who is she stuck with, you know, like who exactly are these people, because these are people that she just met at a rest stop. And yeah, it's very, very intense. It's very action-packed. Like, it's one of those books that you
can't put down.
You can't put it down.
You think about it, like that night when I was like, wow, like just wow.
Like, that was a trip.
This is another book. You don't have to read this book like now. If you wanted to wait, like when it snows in like January or like whenever, like this winter, you could also do that. I mean, it's not. I mean, it also would be like a Christmas type book because it is around that time.
It takes place, like, I think it's the December 23rd.
A few days before Christmas.
Like, I want to say it's like the night before Christmas.
But you could also read
she's trying to get home for Christmas. That's really it. But it doesn't really like go into that stuff. It's more about like the blizzard and the action of like being snowed in at this rest stop.
She has a lot of depth too, the main character. For a book that is so fast-paced and action-packed and like thriller-like, she definitely like grows a lot.
It was very like all of the characters, honestly, like all of the people that are in the shop, and it was really, there's a lot of like anxiety with it too. Like, it definitely like keeps you like on the edge of your seat. I was shocked. My mouth was dropped multiple times.
I literally, like, I was getting texts from Jenna and she's like, I'm screaming. She's like, I'm at 80%. We kept telling each other how much percent we were on our Kindle.
I was like, I'm 80%. I'm ready to throw my Kindle. I can't do this anymore. Because like something happened that I wasn't expecting, and I was
so many twists, so many crazy moments. It's
really good.
It's amazing.
You guys have to read it. You'll love it. Like, as soon as you start it, like, it really gets right into it right off the bat. Like, and they're not chapters either. It goes by like hours and sometimes even minutes of the night, and you're just like leading up to like
waiting.
As you're like reading it, you're like, oh my god, is it daytime yet?
The thing that you're leading up to is you're leading up to the snow trucks coming, like the plow trucks, to get them out of there. So that I think it all like goes like it starts at like when they get there at like 11, 10 o'clock at night, and then it goes until like
the whole night.
5, 6 in the morning. So
it's terrifying. It really, really is. But we highly recommend that you guys read that. Then we have Merry Inkmas by Talia Hibbert, and I really enjoy her other books, the Get a Life Chloe Brown series. I think she's a really great author, and I really like how her books are kind of British. Like, she's a British author, so there's like fun, like the British type of humor is in it too. Like, I don't know, the language. It's really fun, and it's about this guy who is a tattoo artist, and then the girl is like a barista, and they kind of fall in love, and it's a really sweet story. It's only like, it's like a novella length, so if you're new to her writing and you've never read a Talia Hibbert book before, then this is like a good place to start. Like, it's a nice book for Christmas. It's very lighthearted. It's really cute. It's kind of like a Hallmark movie in a book, and it's a good time. It's very short again. It's only, I think, maybe like 200 pages, I think it said on Goodreads, but it was really cute. We really enjoyed it.
Next book that we want to talk about is Frigid by Jennifer Armentrout. This is a book that I actually read last year around, I think, January, and it's about this girl, Sydney, and she ends up getting snowed in with her best friend who she's been in love with for like forever. So it's a friends to lovers book. They end up getting snowed in. Things get really steamy. It's a pretty short book. It's only like 250 pages.
Sometimes you want those nice,
sometimes
short,
you want those
reads.
short books, especially if you're like snowed in. It's a perfect book to read. So yeah.
We love Jennifer Armentrout. She's a great author. Like, we've been fans of her since like the Obsidian series back in the day. So any book that you pick up by her is like a very fast-paced, great book to read.
Yeah.
Next book is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I just recently read this book, and it was such a beautiful story. Basically, it's about this girl named Kala, and she finds out, I think she's like in her mid-20s or early 20s or whatever, and she finds out that her father, who lives in Alaska, so this book mostly takes place in Alaska, which is really crazy, and she finds out that he is dying from cancer. So she has had like no relationship with him because something happened when she was like a baby, and he and her mom, they split up, and she had like a phone call relationship with him. Like, she hasn't seen him since she was a kid. Like, she doesn't really have like that relationship at all with her dad. Like, they haven't talked in years or whatever. So then when she finds out that he does have cancer and he, you know, she doesn't know like what's gonna happen or whatever, she takes a trip to Alaska. And the whole book takes place in Alaska, which is really cool. And he's a pilot and he flies planes, and the guy who ends up helping him, Jonah, is where the romance is, and it's an enemies to lovers, and there's a lot of like family, and there's the romance is really good. It's kind of like a little slow building, but like it's like that good slow burn, and I just love Jonah. And because he's like that rugged like Viking looking guy, and it's very snowy because you're in Alaska, and he flies planes, and it's enemies to lovers because he's like this rugged guy who can do like all these crazy things, and she's very prim and proper with her makeup. Like, I think she runs like an Instagram blog that does like all like beauty gurus, like stuff like that. So she comes in with like a face full of makeup, and then at the end like he ends up like taking her makeup and like hiding it from her, and it's just really fun. They play pranks and stuff, but it's a really great story, and if you're snowed in, it's a good one to read. There's a lot of heart in it. It is emotional obviously as well, but it's also a really beautiful story, and I highly recommend it.
The next book that I want to talk about is Christmas Package by Cassie Cole. This is one that I actually read last year as well, and it's about this girl who goes through a really, really bad breakup on Black Friday, so right before the holidays, and she ends up basically homeless. Like, she's kicked out of her apartment. She ends up, like, she's a saleswoman. She works at like a department store, so she ends up like staying in the department store. Just like temporarily. She's like, oh, I just need to get to like the next paycheck, so she ends up like staying there because she closes anyway, and like she has the key, like she works there, so she ends up staying there.
This is my dog.
Mickey wants to join too. And there's these 3 guys that end up like cheering her up, but it's funny though because she has to like hide. So like there's this guy that like works like the security cameras, and she has to make sure that like nobody sees her because it's a secret. So like he ends up like finding out that like what she's doing, and there's like 3 different guys, and they all kind of have like their unique personalities in the book.
That sounds really good. I have to read that one. I haven't read that.
Yeah, it was a good one. I think that this is one that I would definitely read more around Christmas time though, rather than before. But yeah, it was really good.
Another really fun wintry type of book is Him by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. This is an MM romance, and basically it takes place with these 2 guys back in the day when they were like, I think middle school age. They had like that one time in hockey camp, something kind of went a little further than it should have, and then it's kind of years later because they were like best friends, and then they stopped talking after that happened, and then it's years later, and they are now like running the hockey camp that something happened in, and it's really good. Like, it was so adorable, and I love Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. Their MM romances are so good, and this is one that I just absolutely adored. If you guys are looking for something that's not so much like Christmassy but more like a sports romance, this is a really great choice. It's hockey, so it's ice hockey.
That sounds really good.
And it takes place in Lake Placid. I really love this book.
A series that we want to recommend to read around the Christmas, like wintry time of the year is Harry Potter. So, Harry Potter, if you don't know what Harry Potter is about, no, I'm sure you do know what Harry Potter is about, but this series in particular is always fun to read around the Christmas season. I feel like I always just think of like sitting there like at Hogwarts and with like the sweaters that like Mrs. Weasley makes, and I don't know.
Listen, it's not really
it's
like
nice to go home for Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's something magical, like extra magical about Christmas at Hogwarts. Yeah. I feel like this is a book that you can literally read like any season.
Any time of the year, but
like Halloween, I know this is like popular, like people read it around Halloween because it's like witchcraft and wizardry or whatever, but like I honestly really love it around Christmas time, like in particular, and because we've read it so much, I feel like that's the type of book that I could literally sit there and just read the whole thing in one sitting, because like it's just such a familiar story, and it brings you like the cozy, warm, happy feelings of that Christmas bring you, and you know,
to just sit there with some hot chocolate and just relax, and
it's a great book to always go back to. It really is. The last book that we have to recommend to you is The Trouble with Mistletoe by Jill Chavez. Guys, this cover is gorgeous, but I really enjoy Jill Chavez's book. This is the second book in her Heartbreaker Bay series. You don't need to read the first one in order. I mean, they're all good. I've read a few of them, but this was actually, I think, the first one that I started with because I really wanted to read that, like, Christmas cover, and it's really sweet. So our main character, like the heroine in it, she runs a pet shop and she decorates it like crazy for Christmas, and she's like obsessed with Christmas. And then this guy comes in with a cat and he like needs this cat sitter. Like he's like this big guy, he's like all buttoned up, like he's like a businessman, and he comes in with this like pink, this hot pink bedazzled cat carrier, and he's like, I need a cat sitter like right now. And he's kind of like the Scrooge, kind of like, it's a little bit, there's a second chance because she had a past with him, and it's really cute because he like is not too into Christmas and she's like obsessed with Christmas, and it takes place like a few days before Christmas. But it's a very sweet story, and I highly recommend that you guys check that out.
So that was the last one. Those are all of the wintry Christmas-like books that we recommend for this season. Let us know if you recommend any that we didn't have on this list, because we always want new recommendations. And if you have any recommendations for book-related videos that you'd like us to do, also let us know that down below. And you can also check out our social media.
Yep. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye!